Hi everybody, this is General von Hoffman coming to you from the Aircraft Maintenance Group. Super excited today. As you can see, I'm in the back of a really awesome C-130, my favorite aircraft by the way, and here with Jeremy Overturf, who's the Vice President of the AMXG Team Council. He's got some questions that have come up through the group and I'm super excited to try to answer them. And with that, here we go, Jeremy.
Thank you, ma'am. After complying everybody's questions, we came up with 3 special questions. The first one is, with multiple employees that have kids, parents, and pregnant wives that are quarantined at home, why are aircraft production personnel still working at Hill Air Force Base when it seems that the whole base is on admin leave or teleworking?
Yeah, so thanks, Jeremy, and just to give everybody some reference, there's 9,200 people in the complex, and right now we have about 1,200, a little bit less than 1,200 who are on admin or weather safety leave because they fall into one of those at-risk categories, and then we have a couple hundred more who are able to telework. That's actually comes up to be just less than 20% of the complex that's in one of those categories. I can't really speak to the rest of the base because there's different levels of telework and admin safety leave there, but I can speak to what's going on in the complex. And so it's not the entire workforce, and everybody that's on the production floors is actually here, can't do telework from your garage on a C-130, and so a lot of folks in AMXG, they're still coming to work, and I know that they're super concerned about particularly if they have family members at home who fall into one of the CDC guidelines higher risk category, and so understand their concern. So first and foremost, for our employees that have to come in, it's because they're mission essential, and the only way to do their job is to do it here. And we've been charged to do that, and as long as we can continue to execute our mission, we're going to do that. As far as the concern for their safety, for their family members, that's in the AMXG, but across the board, our number one concern is our employees, and then also their families. And so what we do is everything humanly possible to protect that employee, that individual, while they're at work. And we're doing that by increasing the cleaning products, both personal cleaning products and then the work area cleaning products, just conspicuous cleaning, enhancing increasing the capability of our professional cleaning contracts, and then on top of that, new procedures. If we had to decontaminate an aircraft, if we have to decontaminate parts, we have special procedures for that in place. At the same time, breaking people out on shifts, staggering lunch breaks, staggering our breaks during the day, moving people across shifts and across workstations, so to get the max distance possible that we can, so that while they're here and we need them to be here, we're doing everything that we can to keep them safe so that there's no risk of what they could possibly transmit home. It's impossible to make that zero risk, but we're going to try. We are trying, not going to, we are trying to do everything we can to keep them safe while they're here.
Okay, that was good. So number 2 is, what are the milestones that have to be hit before we start going back to normal operations, and who will determine when the base resumes normal operations?
Right. So I'll answer that second piece twice. The Installation Commander, 75th Air Base Wing Installation Commander, Colonel John Evelyn, is the one that really determines what the health protection conditions are for the base, and he's the person that's working with public health officials within the local community and then within the med group to determine basically what are the conditions on the ground for the base writ large. For our operations, that's us. What we determine is normal operations. We're not going to be back in normal operations, we know, for an extended amount of time. That may be 3 to 4 more weeks. That may be through the summer. That length of time, we don't know. We just know that it's not immediate going back to normal operations. But what we do know is we're learning as we go. In this environment that we're creating where we have people separated in the workspace, where we have enhanced cleaning procedures, basically reducing as much risk as possible and still able to turn out aircraft from AMXG. That's our new normal. operations, if you will. That will stabilize over this period of time, and we will continue to operate this way and get the mission done in this new normal ops for as long as it takes. Now, once the public health officials come back and they say risk of transmission is back down to low, community is kind of returning back to its normal operations, then with the installation commander, we'll make that decision. And that's with the voice of the employees also. All of us are going to want to be back on normal shifts, and believe it or not, the people that are teleworking are not having a good time doing this, because they're trying to juggle access and trying to get their work done in a degraded, calm environment. Everybody wants to get back to normal operations, but we want to do that in the most safe manner possible. We're not going to bring folks in until totally back to normal, totally normal shifts, until we're ready to say the risk is low enough for us to be able to do that.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Yep, you bet.
The last question is, if the virus comes back or another like it, can we expect more of what we've just gone through, or will standard practices be in place by now?
So I so appreciate those questions. One of the best questions that has come up through the team council yet. It is so important. So there was no playbook for this coming through, no military concept of operation or joint operation plan for what we do for a United States national emergency that's a pandemic. So we are relying on our best judgment right now as we go through, learning as we go, and trying to put things in place that make sense. Should this happen again, and we all hope and pray it does not, but should it happen again, because we're a military organization, because we're a learning, adaptive, agile organization, we will be much more prepared as we go through. So earlier, if this were to happen earlier, we would say, okay, what do we need to put in place? We need to put in place great communication. We need to put in place enhanced cleaning procedures. We need to put in place social distancing right away, and we'd be able to institute those things at a drop of a hat. Things that we're learning as we go through this will happen much sooner. Should this ever happen again, we'll be much more prepared. We're a learning organization. We're not going to wait till the end of this to go back and say, okay, what went right, what went wrong. We're identifying those things as we go. And let me just say, one of the things that's come forward right from the very beginning of this is lessons learned, and it shouldn't surprise us. What we get from the team councils has been huge, because it's the voice of our employees coming from the floor, from the offices, straight to me to say, this is what we're concerned about, and here's some better ideas, here's what you could do better, and I'm listening. So that's really important. And one of the other things that's come out is that both formal leaders and people who aren't in formal leadership or supervisory positions, but have just stepped up and become informal leaders with great ideas and have just really jumped out in front and said, let's do it this way. That's come forward, and being able to get those people's ideas up through leadership has been extraordinary. And so I really appreciate everybody that's doing that. So we hope it never comes back, but certainly we'll have some formal things in place to be ready if it does.
Okay.
So that was a great question. I appreciate it. And was that the last question?
It was.
That was the last question. All right. So Jeremy got this last minute. He learned last night that he was going to be the one that got to do the video. So thanks very much, Jeremy, for doing that. And with that, we're going to turn it over to our special guest, Tim Banks.
Hi, I'm Tim Banks, and I represent the 572nd AMXS and the 309th AMXG, and specifically the mighty C-130 Squadron. Over to you, AMXG.